20% increase. I always wanted a thing called tuna sashimi. 3, 2, 1.
Hello guys, Toon here, back again. This time I'm going to do a hardware review. I'm going to do this hardware review on the PC Engine PC FX. As you can see, it's in front of me by there. So if I have a quick look around the side a minute, as you'll see, it looks a bit like a mini PC. But anyway, let's get on to it. Right, the PC FX, it was basically the follow-up to the PC Engine. This one's actually a 32-bit console. Came out in Japan in 1994. Apparently, the project name for this was Iron Man. It basically couldn't do 3D, even though it came out at the same time as the PlayStation. But it would do 2D. It could. One other thing about this console as well, it could decode MPEG video at 30 frames a second, which was much higher than anything else at this time. And that was without any add-ons, so full motion video or anything sort of cartoon videos is really good on this machine. Say NEC made this with Hudson Soft. As you can see here, I don't know if I can hold this up and show you. If you open this up, there's a socket there for a development board, which you can put in the front. There's a couple of like programming boards you can get for this machine, and there's like programming language to go with it. Obviously not much good to us since we're in Germany, we're in English. So anyway, that goes on the side. There's a controller port by here. If you pull that out as well, you get a second controller port on this machine. And on the top, if I open this up by here, on the top of there is the CD-ROM unit. This is a CD-based console. If I just put that down a minute. As you can see, it does look a bit like a mini PC. So if I turn this round a minute, as you can see, that's from the other side. It's a pretty cool looking console. I think it's a pretty funky looking console. And on the back by here now, you have another slot by here, which for the extension boards. The one in the back by here for programming. As you can see down the bottom by here, it has your standard composite out. Apparently this can be RGB converted. I haven't looked into doing it. But there's also the other socket you see, there's an S-video socket. So as long as you've got a TV with an there's the S-video. As long as you've got a TV with an S-video out, you're pretty sorted. And then there is another socket there. It says 5 volts, 40 milliamps. I'm not entirely sure what that's for. I wonder if that could be a possible pass-through for the extra board that went in it. The other thing you notice, this machine is 110 volts only. As you see here, there's the equivalent. And the power cable itself is actually permanently connected to the machine. If you view from the other side, pretty much the same as the other side. So we'll turn it back around. You see it's got a pretty cool new little logo, which is different to the PC Engine logo. I say this machine came with one pad. Here's the joypad. It's a 6-button pad. So it's got a mode on it and stuff, which I think is just like auto fire. You can change it between mode 1 and mode 2, which there's the standard PC Engine buttons for there, and you've got your extra buttons start and run. This is very, very similar to the PC Engine Duo RX Joy 6-button pad. I think it's practically the same, to be honest. Just a different logo on it. It's actually a surprisingly comfortable pad, and there's quite a fairly big size D-pad on it, and it does feel quite nice. You see, the only problem with this machine is, it's rare as rocking or shit. You can pick them up, but they don't come up very often. Apparently there was only 100,000 of them sold. I don't think it went down too well with the Japanese press and the Japanese gaming market, to be honest. That's because there's a lot of adventure games, there's a lot of full motion video games, and there's a lot of dating sims and a few porn games on here. and there's very, very little action games, which for years I was sort of wondering what the hell was the marketing behind this machine like. You had the PC Engine before it and all these iterations, and there was arcade conversions. You had companies like Red and Hudson Soft making action games for it. You had the full scope of games, and the PC Engine is my favourite console just because the games are so good on it. So many classic games, and then what they do, they bring a 32-bit console out, and they put on their dating sims, adventure games, and full motion video games. It's just like, I always thought, what the hell marketing went behind this? But apparently, it was nothing. It wasn't actually a choice by Hudson Soft. I found interviews with Takahashi Mujin, I think his name is. It was the guy that they based Adventure Island on. And I mentioned him before in my Caravan Games videos. He was working at NEC at the time, and he said it was nothing. It wasn't like a marketing ploy. It was just the machine came out in Japan around that time. The 3DO came out. The MegaCd had sort of come out. That type of thing, and adventure game. Japanese public wanted adventure games and full motion video games, and that's why. And sort of dating sims, and this is why this machine sort of ended up with a library of games which, to be honest, most of them are pretty shit. Or at least I say they're shit, but you can't play them unless you're English. You really struggle to play them. It's like, yeah, it seemed a bit strange, but I can understand after reading the interview with Takahashi, you can understand why they did it. The machine itself has got 62 games came out for it, which is not a huge library. There are some pretty nice looking games. There's some pretty weird full motion video fighting games. There's one or two of them which work strangely okay, but I'm not entirely sure what you're going to do on it. It's on about you press buttons, you get different full motion things, and it was a good start for something completely different. And there was one or two EA standard type games, but unfortunately, because there's a very small amount of them, these few games are pretty damn expensive. It's like you've got one called Chip Chan Kick, which I'll do a couple of videos on these anyway. Got one called Chip Chan Kick, which is a very arcadey style Bubble Bobble-esque platformer. It's actually pretty nice. It does have some rather dubious sort of the Japanese, what they're like. They love their schoolgirls and all that, but these are not schoolgirls. They're like bloody 6-year-old girls, but it's got some very dubious sort of knicker shots, which makes you wonder, to be truthfully honest. But once you get past that, the actual game itself plays really well, and it's a pretty funky game. Like, unfortunately, you're literally talking probably about over £100 if you want to buy it. There's another one called Vajua, something Genki Vajua Fight. That's a sideways scrolling action game, very manga-ish looking. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I have finished it. I say another expensive game. You're talking around about the £100 mark. And then there's a shoot 'em up then, which for some reason now the name escapes me. It's very much sort of in the musher type sort of shoot 'em. It's vertical scrolling. It goes for about £250. It's the only shmup on the system, and I've got to be honest, I really don't think it's worth the money at all. Like, I'd begrudge paying £20 for it. It's not that great. It's okay, but it's certainly not worth £250. So, but what I'll do is I've got some of these games, so I'll show you a few. I'll do another video showing you a few games on the machine, and we'll get it up and running through the FrameMeister. It looks pretty nice through the FrameMeister, and we'll get some of these games going. The other good thing about it as well, there's no copy protection, so it'll play copies, which is quite good considering some of these games are very hard to find these days, if almost impossible. But I've got a few, so I'll show you a few. Right. I've got this one. which it's got really nice. All these games got really nice artwork on them, as you can see. And see Earth United, Essex Nation Forces. There is another name to this game, but I can't remember what it is. This is like it's like a strategy game. Only problem is in Japanese, which obviously makes it a little bit awkward. But that's that one I've got. I got a few more games in this, but I'll just show you some more. Blue Breakers, which I think is quite a famous game on this machine. It's basically an adventure game, as you can see. Got some really, this machine really does excel at doing anime type cutscenes and everything. It's very impressive at doing that type of thing. As you can see, there's lots of stuff on the cover there. You see, it's got an awesome booklet on this. It's really thick booklet, as you can see, which is unusual for a CD type game. But for Blue Breakers, it's quite a famous game on the machine. I haven't actually played it, to be honest, but it is supposed to be really good. And they did them boxes, and they did these giant old type PC boxes as well. So as you can see, they're like this. This is one of these weird. I think this is like a weird classroom dating sim. I think it's just called Neo Generation FX 2. As you can see on the back, it does sort of have a sideways scrolling bit. But look at it. Let me have a quick look at that a bit closer. Yeah, it does have something going on there. Not sure what, but using a classroom, I can't quite work out what's going on. In these boxes as well, you get a nice bit of foam. Everyone loves a bit of foam. Look. You get your booklet layer, and then these boxes are quite nicely made, and you flip it over and then you get your game itself then. So they're nicely protected in these boxes. You get a little foam. Look at that, I think these boxes are pretty cool. They're pretty big. You do need a lot of shelf space to store them, but they are pretty cool. Another game that I think Neo Generations is reasonably cheap. Super Power League Baseball is probably one of the only sports games on the machine. This game is surprisingly expensive for a sports game. You're probably, you're probably talking about 50 quid for this game, which is quite strange, especially for a sports game. But like I said, it's one of the only ones on the machine. It's pretty nice looking. It's definitely an upgrade on Hudson Soft's original baseball games. As you can see in this one as well, you get, well, I've got 2 stickers as well. Those stickers, by the way, are the ones that seal the game shut. I just stuck them on the inside. Like same deal with this as well. You get your booklets, you got your disc underneath. So PC Engine FX games, they're getting pretty rare. Sometimes if you're lucky you can pick them up cheap, but a lot of the games are very expensive. Return to Zork, which came out in the PCs and that in the UK and America. This is literally the same one with the full motion video and everything. Only problem is in Japanese, so So you'd need some sort of guide really to work it out. But I'll show you a video of this playing. Yeah, so that actually, Return to Zork actually came out in Japan. You can see, same type of thing, Nice case, nice bit of foam, lots of foam. But I say these boxes, they look pretty cool in the shelf. And then the last one I've dug out as well. That's a pretty funky cover, I have to say. Pretty nice artwork on that cover. There you go. This is another one. This is like a war strategy game. Got some guy lying in bed and something blown up. I think this one just cost me about £5 from Japan. This one was quite cheap. But I think this is actually supposed to be pretty good when you get into it. This one's got a few cards, but I haven't got the booklet, as you see. Which is a shame, but as you can see, quite nice. Yeah, so that's the PC Engine. That's the PC Engine FX with his hardware bundle and everything. It's going a bit crazy on that disc. your hardware bundle and everything. So, you know, as for collecting, you know, I love PC Engine stuff. I gotta be honest, I probably just bought this just for the collector's point of view, just because it's pretty rare. This one is in working nick. You know, the games, you know, the boxes now look good. A lot of them are not playable. I say the Chip Jam Kick is a pretty good game, but I probably wouldn't give it any more than about 7, 8 out of 10. Say 8 out of 10. Vajra Fight's probably worth about 7, and the shoot 'em up is not great. Unless you're willing to go through, you know, to be honest, unless you're willing to put up with the Japanese, go through Japanese RPGs, not knowing what's going on and trying to work things out, it's pretty hard to recommend this console, to be honest. But, you know, if you're after something that is truly Japanese, which this thing is, this is, you know, this is like almost like a moment in gaming in Japan between 1994 and 1998, which that was when it was discontinued. You know, and gaming flavour in Japan was the stuff that was coming out on here. So if you're after a console that really is truly just a Japanese console, you know, the PC Engine FX is the way to go. A lot of people collect it. I like it. I'm not getting rid of it. I do like it. I think it does look pretty cool, but pretty hard to recommend it. And the consoles themselves, they're going for about 100 quid, 120 quid with postage from Japan. So they're not going to be cheap. So, but that's the PC Engine FX, and say in the next videos, guys, what I'll do a video, and I'll show a few games playing on it, and we'll have a quick look at them, and you know, make your own mind up what you think. Anyway, catch you again, guys. Leave a comments in the comments box.